Welcome into another video. We are officially 1 week away from the NFL draft. I could not be more excited. And today we are going to be diving into my top 5 defensive interior linemen. One of the more deeper positions in this draft class, no doubt. A projected dozen players to go over the first 2 days. I think in my top 5, we've got 4 guaranteed first round picks, or at least should be guaranteed first round picks. Lots of high ceilings, lots of boom or bust potential. There is some bust here. There's some risky play here in my top 5, but the ceilings are through the roof. Like I said, one of the more deeper classes. I think there's a lot of good talent. I think if I was able to go deeper into this class, it maybe could be my favorite position in this class because I was only able to get about 20 done, knowing that I was going to be doing my top 5. And, you're kind of national consensus here again, knowing your kind of range on who's going to be sneaking into that top 5. But I think there's a good chance we could see like 20 of these guys go over the first 4 to 5 rounds. But let's go ahead and get started with my number 5 defensive tackle, and that's Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, coming in at 6'3", 327 with a 43.5 ADP. Back-to-back seasons as third team All Big Ten and a national champion this year. This guy is your ultimate run-stuffing day 2 defensive tackle. Really good size, power. He's going to physically dominate one-on-ones and has the size and strength to handle some double teams as well. Very good at locating the ball carrier, and he does have the athleticism to go sideline to sideline and finish off the tackle. He stays with his blocks, moves laterally very fast. I love me some Tyleik Williams run tape. Now, the bull rush is probably going to be the only way he's going to be consistently getting to the quarterback. And when I say consistently getting to the quarterback, I mean very rarely. And that's just coming off his bull rush. He doesn't have much of a pass rush bag to win consistently at the NFL. The power is his game. And that's why I think he's going to be a phenomenal nose tackle. Probably won't be seeing him much on third down reps, but he's a true run stuffer. He's going to be a TFL machine, big hands, strong, very explosive off the ball, finishes the job well. Run defenders are important too. Just because he doesn't have a pass rush arsenal like some of these guys do, that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be talked about, very highly. People love the flashy plays, but this guy is going to be a grinder in the middle. And the run is more important now than it's been over probably the last decade. Resurgences of Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry having phenomenal seasons. How, well the impact of running backs fared for teams this year. So, Tyleik Williams, he should be considered a very high day 2 pick just because the run is very important, and he is one of the best run defender tackles in this class. Moving on to my number 4 defensive tackle, we have Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, coming in at 6'3", 339 with an ADP of 20.1. Third team AP All-American, a national champion, and was second team All Big Ten this year. For 6'3", 340 pounds, my guy is impressively quick. Elite burst through the gaps to pressure the quarterback, has really good flashes as a pass rusher. Like I said, flashes, though. He's not consistent enough, but he's got very active hands as well, long arms, active hands in the passing game. He had 5 pass breakups this season. So, he's getting his hands up when engaged with the blocker, knocking down the balls. He shows off his strength. He's got a very powerful punch, very good at knocking the blocker off balance. But he just needs to piece it all together at the NFL level because I feel like he just wasn't consistent enough overall. When Kenneth Grant is on, he is on. He looks like the best player on the field. But I feel like we've seen multiple times in his tape, he will win at the line of scrimmage and then just not finish the rep. He seems almost hesitant. So whoever drafts him is going to have to instill that nastiness and ferociousness into him all game long, because sometimes I'm not saying he's even taking a rep off. It just seems like he's hesitant at times. But overall, he's got all the tools, traits, and the rare speed for his size to be a dominant nose tackle at the NFL level. Definitely a first-round pick because when Kenneth Grant is on, my guy is on. Moving on to my number 3 defensive tackle in the 2025 NFL draft, and that is Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. 6'4", 296 with an ADP of 21 and was a first-team AP All-American this year. When it comes to the basics, good NFL size and production at the SEC level, automatic A+ in those categories for me. You want to have that good NFL size, and I love some production, and especially at the SEC level. He's got A+ in both those categories. His burst and power off the snap can put offensive linemen on their ass very quickly. Very good at shoving the blockers to the side with ease, filling those running lanes, filling those gaps. When I talked about nasty and ferocious kind of player, when I was just explaining Kenneth Grant, this is Walter Nolan. He plays with the goal of destruction, and it's worked out for him. He had phenomenal production at Ole Miss this year. Really good pass rush bag. He has all the tools and measurables to excel at the NFL level, but he needs to clean up his game. He has a very chaotic play style from what I saw. Now, chaos can be very good at times, but when you're going up against the pros of the pros, they're going to catch on to that chaotic play style, and they're going to allow you to play sloppy and overplay your hand, overplay the play. And that could be a recipe for disaster. If he cleans that up, my guy has superstar potential from the interior. Moving on to my number 2 defensive tackle, and that is Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Coming in at 6'4", 313. He did run the 40, had a 4.95 40 time with an ADP of 31.8. Chiefs, Bills, Vikings, most drafted by. Second team AP All-American, third team All Big Ten. Lots of Big Ten guys on this list. Derek Harmon has the perfect length, size, twitch, speed that you want in your defensive tackle. He is the perfect blend. 6'11" wingspan, and he uses his very long arms to shed these blockers with ease and stuff these running lanes. And he also has a very good swim and rip move in his pass rush bag. And then once he's by the blocker, he has great pursuit to close. And if, he's in the range, like I said, he uses his length to grab onto the runner, bring him down to the ground. He finishes well. He's heavy up top, so this is a guy who can eat up some blocks in the interior and let his other dogs go to work. But that top heaviness, makes him kind of not a very agile player. Sometimes you'll see him dominate a rep, get right into the backfield immediately, and a shiftier back or a shiftier quarterback can make him miss. He's not very fluid in flipping his hips, changing directions. But like I said, he has that length to wrap those guys up, bring them in, bring them to the ground. But some of these guys are fast, hard to get their hands on. So that's where Harmon kind of struggles once he's in the backfield. He gets beat, misses a tackle occasionally, but positive things are he's winning a lot of reps. I really like me some Derek Harmon. This is a guy, in my opinion, who should be a guaranteed top 20 pick. Like you've seen, his ADP was 32. You're looking at the back half of the first round. I don't see it that way. This guy should be guaranteed top 20 pick, maybe even a top 15 pick. And last but not least, my number 1 defensive tackle is Mason Graham out of Michigan. Coming in at 6'4", 296 with a 5.9 ADP. First team All-American, first team All-Big Ten, first team All-Big Ten in 23, 2024 Rose Bowl defensive MVP, a national champion as well. One of the, 5 or 6 blue chip prospects in this draft class. That is Mason Graham. The best burst and explosiveness off the snap. Really, boom, he times it up so well, and he matches that with elite punch and power to help drive these offensive linemen. He's got very fast hands as well that matches his speed off the snap, and that helps him get control quickly. And then he's got the strength to sit there, stand tall, throw these guys to the side when he needs to fill in the gaps in these running lanes. He is the ultimate run defender. He doesn't have an elite pass rush bag due to his smaller arms. So I would like to see him expand that maybe once he gets into the NFL, work with some defensive coordinators, help expand that. I don't know how high his ceiling is going to be as a pass rusher because of these smaller arms, but he's got some occasional work, and then once he wins these reps, his closing speed to the quarterback is very good. A lot of his sacks, or at least his pressures, these guys have very little time to react. And if they make him miss his very last second because he gets there quickly. And he's also got alignment versatility. He lined up in the 1, 3, and 5 tech positions at Michigan. So he's got the IQ, instincts, and versatility to play all over the defensive line. I think he's truly a 3 tech for a 4-3 scheme. That's where he's going to find most dominance in the NFL. But, like I said, he's got the versatility. He's lined up at the 1, he's lined up at the 5, but I think he needs to be lining up at the 3 in a 4-3. People are talking about his small arms a lot. The only time I really see him struggling is if he's facing off against a big body interior offensive lineman, guard, center, and you don't really see those much. A lot of the times those guys are playing on the interior because they have smaller arms. It's been the talk of this draft class with Will Campbell. So, most of the time it's going to be small arm versus small arm, but you will probably see him struggle against some of the bigger bodies in the NFL lined up at the interior. Other than that, Mason Graham, blue chip prospect, the ultimate football. He's just a fucking football player, man. He's just a football player. I know everybody's been saying that about him. He's a fall guy. He's not a spring guy, but it's true. It's true. Call me corny. I don't care. It's true. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another video. I loved breaking down the defensive tackles. Would love to see one of these guys potentially fall to my Chicago Bears at like 39. Maybe Mason Graham falls to my Bears at 10. Who knows? The draft is a crazy place. Overall, loved breaking down this position. Loved diving into the tape of these guys. Lots of content coming out over the next week. And before you know it, we're going to blink and it's going to be draft day, baby. So thank you guys once again for tuning into another video. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace.